All right, let's dive right in. There's a high-stakes standoff brewing in the Arctic, and it involves NATO allies, a massive icy island, and a threat that could literally fracture the entire Western alliance. This is what's being called the Greenland Gambit. And it all kicks off with this number right here, 10%. Now, it might just look like a number, but what does it actually mean? Well, this single figure represents a huge escalation in a dispute that's been simmering between America and its allies for a while now. So that 10%, that's the price for defying the president. It's a brand new tariff that President Trump has just announced he's slapping on some of America's closest allies in Europe. Make no mistake, this is an economic weapon, and it's aimed right at the heart of the transatlantic relationship. And the reason for such a dramatic move against your own allies? Believe it or not, it all comes down to an island, a massive 825,000 square mile island. So the big question is, how on earth did Greenland become the trigger for a major international crisis? Let's break it all down. Okay, so first up, let's unpack the president's really dramatic announcement, what we're calling the tariff ultimatum. Just take a look at the sheer scope of this thing. This isn't some targeted tariff on, a single industry. Nope, this is a blanket 10% tariff on all goods coming from Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the UK, the Netherlands, and Finland. I mean, every single one of those countries is a key American ally. And the conditions here are, well, they're pretty stark. The tariffs are set to kick in on February 1st, 2026, and they're going to ramp up fast to 25% just a few months later. So, is there an off-ramp? A way out? Yep, and it's been made crystal clear. These tariffs stay in place until the United States is able to purchase Greenland. Which, brings us right back to that central mystery. Why? Why has this one Arctic island become so important that it's worth risking a massive trade war with America's closest partners? Right. To really get the why behind all this, we need to look at what the U.S. administration sees as the big prize here, the Greenland Prize. Okay, so first, a little bit of context on Greenland. It's a self-governing territory, but it's part of the Kingdom of Denmark. And here's what's crucial for this story. It's covered by NATO's Collective Defense Clause. An attack on one is an attack on all. And it's already home to a really vital American military base, the Pitufik Space Base. The Trump administration has been pretty open about why it wants to buy the island outright. There are three main goals here. First, to ensure American security in the increasingly important Arctic region. Second, to block the growing influence of rivals like China and Russia up there. And third, to get access to what could be incredibly rich mineral resources. And you don't have to take my word for it. In the president's own words, which he posted on social media, he sees this as a very dangerous game. And he added, only the United States of America under President Donald J. Trump can play in this game, and very successfully at that. So with a move that big, how has Europe responded? Well, let's turn to their reaction, which honestly has been a swift and incredibly united front. The European Commission President, Ursula von der Leyen, she pushed back immediately. She pointed out that the Danish military exercises that kind of sparked this whole thing were pre-coordinated and posed no threat to anyone. And she warned that these tariffs risk a dangerous downward spiral. French President Emmanuel Macron, he was even more direct. He really framed this as a fundamental issue of national sovereignty. He said, and I'm quoting here, "No intimidation nor threat will influence us. We will know how to uphold European sovereignty." And then from across the English Channel, the British Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, he pointed out what he sees as a core contradiction in all of this. He said, applying tariffs on allies for pursuing the collective security of NATO allies is completely wrong. And maybe the bluntest response came from the Swedish Prime Minister, Ulf Kristersson. I mean, he did not mince words. He straight up called the U.S. move blackmail and then laid it out very firmly. Only Denmark and Greenland decide on issues concerning Denmark and Greenland. But this whole conflict isn't just playing out on the world stage. It's also creating some pretty significant fractures back at home. And I mean both in Greenland and right inside the U.S. political system. Over in Greenland itself, the reaction has been just completely unequivocal. You've had large Stop Trump marches filling the streets of the capital, Nuuk, and Greenland's politicians have said again and again that they have absolutely no desire to join the United States. And back in Washington, D.C., what's really interesting is that the opposition is coming from both sides of the aisle. It's bipartisan. In a joint statement, Senators Jean Shaheen, a Democrat, and Tom Tillis, a Republican, they argued that there's no need or desire for a costly acquisition or hostile military takeover, especially, they said, when our allies are already eager to work with us on Arctic security. So you've got Europe united in opposition, you've got bipartisan pushback at home. What are the wider implications here? What is really, truly at stake? Well, the EU's Foreign Affairs Chief, Kaja Kallas, she really put the geopolitical risk in sharp focus. She tweeted, "China and Russia must be having a field day. They are the ones who benefit from divisions among allies." And this really illustrates that chain reaction that European leaders are so worried about. It's like a domino effect. Step 1, the tariffs start to weaken trust. That economic pressure just erodes the very foundation of the alliance. That leads to step 2, the alliance itself starts to fracture. You get these deep divisions within NATO over security and sovereignty. And the result? Step 3, a weakened Western alliance creates a power vacuum, an opportunity that global rivals like China and Russia are more than ready to step into. All of this just leaves us with a really provocative final question to think about. When you see economic pressure like this being put on a security partner over a piece of strategic territory, it really makes you ask, in this massive global power play, what is the true cost of an alliance?